What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another stream. It is game week 4. The international break is finally over. It is good to be back for sure. Of course, I missed game week 3, so it feels like it's been a very long time since I've done a stream. It is good to be here. Thank you all very much for joining. Happy Saturday. I hope you are happy for all the football to be back today. We'll do the usual bits. We'll say hello to everyone in the stream. We'll go through, we'll answer your questions. We'll talk about my team. I think it's going to be a slightly more relaxed stream today. I don't expect loads of stuff. I do think we'll get some early Manchester City team news going into the deadline. They are a 3 o'clock kickoff. But apart from that, I'm not expecting very much to happen news-wise during the stream. And I think a lot of people have already locked in their teams. So if you have decided to join, thank you very much. Good morning to you all. Hope you're having a nice Saturday morning. And yeah, let's say hello to a few of you, shall we? Who have we got in? We have got Joe, Ahmed, Michael, Chronic. We've got Gavin, Cheekster, Kieran, Eric, FPL Vars, Richard, Dave, the Dave Man, Richard. Hello to all the members in and moderators. Thank you all very much for supporting the channel as well. Madlift, Ollie, Z, Umar, Hassan, Mayed, Tracy, Ozspike, Craig, Stephen, Totti, Immortal, Sandy, Marcus, Isa, Damien, Sally, Murad, Tunde, Jason, Sanderpan, Zane, Fiona, Yusuf, Dan, Dave, Metub, Nir, Diaz. Hello. How are we? So yeah, my team, I'd be very surprised if my team changes now between now and the deadline. I made my 2 transfers a long time ago, and now I don't have that much to do. The plan was Salah in for Saka, and then João Pedro in for Alexander Isak. Of course, we'll wait on bated breath whether we think João Pedro is going to start today. I do think he'll start, but I completely understand that there is a risk associated with João Pedro. Was Harry giving baby name suggestions to someone? No, I was just saying hello. There are a few players with a slight risk of starts this week. The other one are some of the Liverpool players. Of course, they play Champions League on Tuesday, but I expect a pretty full-strength lineup from them based on quotes we had from Arne Slot yesterday. And then a lot of people asking in the chat about Erling Haaland. Of course, for those of you who are unaware, Erling Haaland very unfortunately lost one of his close family friends over the past week. And City have said that he's allowed some time off if need be to travel home and, see those family and friends and be with his family as well. The thing that I would add on that, Pep said yesterday he needs to check the physical and mental condition of Haaland going into the game this weekend. But Haaland was pictured in training yesterday, so I don't have that much worry about that. And we've seen it happen. It happened last year with his grandmother, and he ended up playing all the games around that anyway. So I don't have that much of a concern on Haaland at all. I'd be very surprised if he missed any minutes. And I think it's more likely that he plays and has an extra bit of fire. In his belly. I would also not worry about captaining him at all. I think he's the best captaincy option this week. So yeah, that's my 2 pence on the Erling Haaland situation. Cole Palmer has been pictured back in training. That was discussed in my final decisions video yesterday. So yes. Porro or Robinson. So let me get the benching headache up. I would probably start Robinson over Pedro Porro. Just. Kudus I really like as a bit of a cheap differential. I think West Ham as differentials are going massively under the radar. Their next 4 or so fixtures do look pretty nice, and I think there's an absolute ability for them to do well and get some points in there. So I don't mind Kudus as a differential. Luis Diaz price increased again. I didn't actually check the price changes for last night. I know there were a lot predicted to, but I know that's not actually ended up happening. Luis Diaz, Matoma, and Luka Dean. Yeah, and then a lot of fallers. Kwanzaa down to 4.2. I mean, if Konate ever gets injured, that's the thing with that that price start for Kwanzaa. He's now 4.2. And if Konate gets injured at all, or we get to a point where it is Kwanzaa as number 1, 4.2 million for him is just an absolute joke. So who else? Foden down to 9.3. As soon as Foden's back in the team, 9.3 will be a very nice price for him. Yeah, that's probably about it in there. That's probably about it. Who do I step? Pedro Porro or Greaves? Definitely Pedro Porro. Yes, I'll put Greaves in there, but I'll put Greaves on my benching headache list. But I think Foden will probably start. I wouldn't take the risk on buying him though, but I do think Foden will probably start. Who's the best midfielder to buy for Nkunku? If you've got money in the bank, I still like Eze, I like Madueke, or if you can go up to someone like a Jota or a Diaz. If you don't have money, then someone like a Minte is going to be very popular down at the 5.5 price. You've got Semenyo, who's not a bad long-term pick. I still like Rodgers as a buy as well. Robinson versus Porro, so I'd start Robinson and Smith Rowe versus Rodgers. I don't actually have Rodgers on this benching, but I would play yeah. I'd play Rodgers over Smith Rowe, I think. Have you regretted any picks since the start of the season? I mean, not massively. The big one, of course, would be Nkunku. Yeah. I think Nkunku is about the only one I massively look and I regret. Everyone else has been pretty good. No sound. I think that is just you. So no sound. I think it's not us. I would refresh your stream. Well, you can't hear me to tell you to refresh your stream, but refresh your stream. Mitoma for Nkunku. Yeah, I like that a lot. Mitoma is a great long-term punt and is a bit of a differential. Updated wildcard draft. There was one in my final decisions video yesterday, which I can get up, and I would be recommending, I think, the same. The one yesterday had Jackson in, and now that we know that Slanky's fit, I might end up going for Slanky over Jackson. But apart from that, I'm pretty set that wildcard draft in that video yesterday would be what I would go with if I was playing it. Play Gabriel or Mazraoui. I'd play Mazraoui. I mean, Southampton have looked pretty awful since the start of the season, so they are definitely one to target. Porro or Burn. They're away at Wolves. I'd probably go Porro. Let me add Burn in here. Would I play Burn or Gabriel? Sorry. Let me add. Who was it? Oh yeah. You have Raya, Fabianski, Lewis, Powell, Virgil Robinson, Salah, Jota, Eze, Rodgers, Watkins, Jackson. Any transfers? I wouldn't use a transfer on any of them. Saka, Jota, Eze. Just you don't have Haaland, but I wouldn't use a transfer there, no. I wouldn't use a transfer there. Sorry, one sec. The BT Wi-Fi team decided to phone me on a Saturday morning. Will Rico Lewis start? I would say probably, but I just wouldn't buy Rico Lewis now. I think the buy time for Lewis has massively gone. If he starts Brentford and then starts Arsenal and then starts Newcastle, then we can have a look at them. But like, you're starting them against Brentford, who are a team who like to score goals, right? We're all looking at buying in Burmo, so they are a team that we think can score goals. Then they play Arsenal, and then they play Newcastle. If we get to game week 7 and we still think Rico Lewis is a good option, then maybe. But I just don't see points in these games for him. I don't see this as being the buy time for Rico Lewis. Will Konza start? Yes, we think he will. We think he will. The press conference quotes yesterday said it was just a knock. He should be available for selection tomorrow. So, positive news on Ezri Konza. Why Porro over Gabriel? Just Arsenal are likely, Arsenal to be out without Odegaard and Rice, and I think it'll mean they control the game much less than maybe they have done in the past. And Spurs are great going forward. Porro has by far the best attacking threat out of those two. 0.31 XGI so far this season. I mean, it's difficult for a defender, right? Because as soon as they get a good headed chance, that'll be like 0.4 XG. So maybe not quite, but Porro just has better baseline attacking threat. And if we expect Solanke to be back in that team, Porro's crosses will have someone on the end of it. Players I fear that could go off. I mean, the two I sold, right? Isak and Saka have got to be the two players that I fear going into the game week. That they could do very well. Luis Diaz is the other one, probably. Given he's the attacker I don't have. Isak. Isak, Arsenal in general, basically. So I don't have any Arsenal. Palmer, of course. Basically all the other highly owned ones. Palmer's got to be up there. The thing is with Palmer is none of the active managers, the Twitter community that I look at, the sample of players that I see teams from, virtually no one has Palmer. So I don't massively feel it as a threat, but the ownership is massive and there's a lot of people around my rank with it. It's just not the people who are on Twitter. Watkins or Isak? To be honest, I'd go Isak over Watkins. I mean, I'd go Solanke over both of them. Maybe not this week, but next week I definitely would. Luca Dean for me is another one that falls into the too much of a risk camp. They've got Everton at home this week and then they play Champions League midweek. We have absolutely no idea whether Unai Emery is going to use Maatsen in the Champions League because he has Champions League experience, or he's going to use Dean in the Champions League because that's obviously his first choice left back at the moment. My prediction would be Maatsen does play the Champions League because he has great experience in that tournament. But he might need him to get up to speed before playing in the Champions League, right? You can't just throw him in with no minutes in the Champions League. So, yeah, I'm a bit uncertain of that. I don't think Nedeljkovic will probably start, but I do think there's a chance if he wants to use the young centre-back in the Champions League, then maybe he gives him a rest and plays Konza at centre-back and Nedeljkovic at right-back. So yeah, if you have Nedeljkovic and you've got no one else, maybe play him, but I don't think he'll probably start. Start Muniz or Fulham. So based on, I would just go Muniz. I know he's not had a return yet, but I would go Muniz, I think, over him. Of the 5 million goalkeepers, who would you pick if you were wildcarding? If I was wildcarding, I wouldn't pick any of the 5 million goalkeepers. I would pick 2 4.5 million goalkeepers. And let me show you why. FPL. Let me show you why. Sorry, 1 second. I will put the link in the chat for this page as well. This is an incredible free tool that you can use. It's called FPL Rotation Planner, and it basically allows you to plan. I know it's a bit allows you to plan the best rotating pairs. So, for example, if I want 2 players and I want to start one of them, so you have 2 goalkeepers and you want to start one, I'm going to select loads of game weeks because I don't want to make a goalkeeper transfer. Let's go all the way up until the second wildcard. Let's go to game week 20 and have a look at what the best goalkeeper rotations are. Now, you can have a look and you can start to maybe pick the ones that are within the budget that you've got. But the one I really like, if we put in Brighton, Everton, where's the Brighton? Is it Brighton, Brentford? Yeah. This is really nice. The Brighton-Brentford rotation looked really good, and they're 2 strong defenses. Big fan of that. You can also do Brentford and Brentford Palace also looks really nice. Apart from game week 5, which is short term, but the long-term rotation for Brentford, Fleck and Henderson also looks really, really good. So I wouldn't bother buying any of the 5 million goalkeepers. I would probably do 2 4.5 million goalkeepers. I will put the link in the chat. It's called FPL Rotation Planner. I have a bit of an issue getting on it. If you go on Google and type it in, it doesn't always work. But if you go on Twitter and find their page and click the link in the bio, it does work. This is my team. Haaland captain. If I don't have money for Eze, it's Madueke. I love Madueke as a pick. Yeah. Thoughts on Eddie Nketiah for Palace? Really interesting quotes from Palace yesterday about Nketiah. 5.9, they basically said, is he ready to play? And they said yes. I do wonder if we will see a slight change in, well, maybe Nketiah will play on that right wing, right forward position that we saw Elise play last year. Maybe it'll be a front 2 of Nketiah and Mateta with Eze just behind. Listen, if Nketiah is going to play at 5.9, he's going to be incredibly popular. He'll be challenging João Pedro for a forward spot. You could also potentially rotate them. I don't know what their rotation. If I go Brighton Palace, like you could go João Pedro and Nketiah, and you get them both this week. Forest at home, Everton away, Spurs at home, Forest away, Wolves at home, Wolves away, Fulham at home, Bournemouth away. Like the rotation looks pretty nice for them as well, right? That could be a really easy way to suddenly free up a lot of money. Now it does take up 2 forward slots, but it would look pretty nice. Thoughts on captaining Isak or Eze? I don't think I'd do that. Eze is my fourth best captaincy option this week, but he does just sit behind Haaland and Salah. This is not a week to captain against Haaland and Salah, I don't think. Keep Haaland or Saka wildcard on game week 6. I'd keep Haaland first. Is Welbeck a better short? If I hadn't bought João Pedro now, would I still buy João Pedro or would I buy Welbeck? I think I would still buy João Pedro because I do think he starts today. I do think he'll start today. What's going on? Sorry, I was looking very pale, making my lights a bit warmer. Saliba or Gabriel? I'd probably go Saliba for the long term, but I'm boring like that. Yeah, I do like Madueke as a long-term pick. He's right up there. Very positive comments yesterday from the Chelsea boss about him as well. Bench one of Solanke, Rogers, Smith Rowe, or João Pedro. I mean, I'd probably bench Solanke just because we don't know he's going to start. And all the others have good home fixtures. It's either Solanke or Smith Rowe. But probably Solanke. Is Mateta a risk? No. It would be Mateta plus Nketiah. Rather than one of them, like it being a rotation. It would be both, I think. Because they're playing Kamada as their right wing at the moment. And then they've got Sarr. Like, that is still a weak point, that Eze position. That position is very much up for grabs. So, yeah, I think it's both. Is Rico Lewis a risk? I mean, I think so. I think he probably starts Brentford, but I don't think it's impossible we see Kyle Walker start. Adama Traore or Smith Rowe? I mean, Smith Rowe, if you're buying one now, I would still probably say Smith Rowe. I would still say Smith Rowe. Rodgers or Smith Rowe? I'd play Rodgers, just more nailed for minutes. And yeah. I'd play Rodgers. I do have a benching decision rotation in the top right. If you are still looking for benching players and you're asking that in the chat, I have got a rotation which comes round after, I don't know, I can't remember what order they're in. So I will slowly fill it out with players in it that maybe I haven't. I love Matoma as a pick. Very nice pick at home to Ipswich. Yeah, if you can get him. Matoma versus Madueke is interesting. I still think if you're wildcard 6, I probably would go Matoma. But if you're wildcarding any later, I probably would go Madueke. Noni or Jackson? I mean, I'd prefer Noni. Why Wood first sub? I just always have my attacker first sub. Always have the attacker first sub. Would I do Eze to Palmer for a hit? Not this week. Not with Eze playing Leicester at home. I don't think I'd do that for a hit. Because if Eze gets anything, you suddenly need Palmer to get 2 returns just to pay off the hit. So I don't think I'd do that for a hit, no. Smith Rowe to Eze for free or just play Muniz and roll. Again, if you're wildcard 6, I would just roll it. If you're going to wildcard later, then I'd probably do it. Is Gvardiol to Trent for a hit worth it? No, not with Gvardiol playing Brentford at home. No. I don't think so. You have Johnson and Barco. Should you be concerned? Best replacements. I mean, it's not the best, right? Your bench looks pretty weak if you've suddenly got 2 defenders. Well, one who definitely won't play and one who looks like he is not going to play consistently. So it's not the best, right? But it depends who your starting 3 defenders are. Get Havertz now from wildcard 4 is a good idea. So Havertz is an interesting one. With Odegaard out, we are expecting his returns to be less because we expect him to play in Odegaard's role in midfield, whilst we do expect to see a forward line that includes Jesus, Trossard or someone else to play up front. So I'm not sure I would include Havertz on a wildcard. I would go with someone like a Solanke or a Jackson. Someone you could, or an Isak, someone you can easily get to Havertz if he does, like, once we get to Odegaard being back and the fixtures looking nice. But right now, there was another question on Konate. Again, Konate does feel like a bit of a risk. His injury record is not fantastic. I just am not certain that Konate is going to play 3 times a week. So I do think there might be a start for Kwanzaa in there at some point. So I just don't think I would be spending... I'm not sure I'd be taking the gamble on Konate. Nkunku for Madueke, you can't buy Eze. Yeah, big fan of the Madueke pick. Yeah, if I couldn't buy Eze now, I'm almost certain he would be the midfielder I'd have bought this week. Yeah. That's probably what I would have done, but I went Eze. Flecken and Verbruggen and a 4.5 defender, or Raya Fabianski and a 4 million. If that 4 million is your fourth defender, then you can't do that. If that's your fifth defender, then the Raya pick is fine. Eze is a better captaincy pick than Isak for me. I think Haaland will play. We don't have any news at the moment. Again, if we get anything going into the deadline, I will, of course, update you and we'll share it all on stream. But we haven't got that much. Tempted to transfer Salah in. I mean, I've used that as my transfer this week. Yep. Chelsea game week 5 onwards or Arsenal game week 6 onwards. Yeah, so Palmer versus Saka from... let me get the fixtures up. So, I mean, Arsenal, Leicester at home, Southampton at home, Bournemouth away, but Chelsea have like Bournemouth, West Ham, Brighton at home, Forest at home. I mean, over the next 5 weeks, Chelsea are better because they have an extra good fixture, but that Arsenal run from 6 looks some of the best. Sorry, chat. I sneezed in the mornings. Oh, it's going to happen again. Thank you, chat. Thank you. I sneeze more than anyone you know. There's a fun fact about me. Captain Jota, Vice Isak thoughts. You also have Haaland. I mean, if you have Haaland, I would just captain Haaland. Watkins or Isak on wildcard for the next 2 weeks. I'd go straight to someone else, but Isak if I had to pick one. Don't you think Brentford's low block makes Salah a better captaincy option? I mean, City have found a way to counter low blocks over the past 3 weeks as well, so I don't have that much concern. Both are great captaincy picks, don't get me wrong. There's nothing to pick between them, really. If you think that that is going to stop Haaland scoring, then absolutely go for it, but I don't really. Am I using the FPL Focal app from Oscar? I do use it. Once the game week starts, I often use it to check the to check my live rank and check the bonus points and stuff. It's so quick to update. It's so quick to update. Just sold Havertz for João Pedro and Smith Rowe to Eze. I like those, and greetings from Papua New Guinea. Hello and welcome, and I quite like those transfers. Newcastle defence away at Wolves. I'm not a big fan of how they've started the season defensively, so I mean, yeah, I'm not sure I'd be buying a Newcastle defender. We also don't feel like certain that we know who's actually going to start. That feels like the bigger concern for Newcastle at the moment. Onana or Rodgers. I still think Rodgers is a better pick than Onana. I know he scored twice. But sorry, I just repeated myself again. I know people don't like that. So I just think Rodgers is the one when you watch the games who's likely to get returns. I know Onana's popped up with 2 goals so far this season, but yeah. Thoughts on Harvey Barnes? I'm not fussed on Newcastle, and I still think that Murphy will start some games. So no to Harvey Barnes. Wanting an Isak call to punish the sellers? To be honest, I think you could very much get it. Centre-backs will be Burn and Share. Yeah, but we don't know. Like, I'm not buying a new... No offence, but I'm not buying a Newcastle centre-back the way that they're defending at the moment. And I'm not buying a left-back, so we don't know who it's going to be every week. And, like, is Trippier still at Newcastle? So, who's going to play right-back? Is Trippier going to come back in? Or is it just going to be Livramento? He played off the bench against Bournemouth and then didn't feature at all. So, like, it's a bit of a minefield, that Newcastle fullback situation. Will Luis Diaz start? We do think so, yes. Rodgers or Semenyo? I mean, I'd go Semenyo. The thing is with Semenyo is... Sorry, I'm still blocked up. Still a bit blocked up. And I'm trying to not, like, make it show on stream. Chelsea at home, Liverpool away. Like, the short-term fixtures are not great, but he's definitely a better attacking option than Rodgers. So if you can go to Semenyo and rotate him, fine. But if you do have to play them every week, then maybe Rodgers is better. Is Nkunku starting? I'd be very surprised. I'd sell Nkunku if you have him still. Jota or Diaz? I'd go Diaz. Haaland will score tonight for sure. I hope so. Is Gabriel to Robertson for a -4 worth it? Only if you're wildcarding in game week 6. But even then, I don't think it is worth it, probably. If you've got Trent or something, then I wouldn't do it. If it's to cover any Liverpool defence, then maybe. But start Porro or Pau Torres. That's a good one. We can add that. I would play Pau Torres. Wood or Morgan Gibbs White to start? The striker. I'd play Wood if I had to play one of the two. You hope Haaland doesn't score. You're playing against him. I mean, yeah, betting against Haaland is always a risk, right? Pau Torres or Konza? I probably would still just go Pau Torres, just based off a slight risk of Konza not playing. The Villa defence is one that's... Their underlying data is great, but their clean sheet returns often are not that fantastic. They only kept 8 clean sheets last year, despite finishing 4th. So they win a lot of games, but they also concede like the odd goal in them as well. Oh, wow. I haven't plugged likes or subs once this stream. 3,000 of you in and watching and only 300 likes. That's 10% of you. Quick maths. If you haven't already liked the stream, please make sure you hit that like button. And if you haven't subscribed as well, please do so. We upload 4 times a week, 2-hour deadline stream, plus some other bits as well, plus my new podcast as well. Do I feel bad I don't have any Chelsea players? A little bit. Like, I do like the idea of having a Madueke or a Palmer in there at the moment, but I just don't have a route to it, and I've got players I want to prioritise over that. Do I think Savinho will start for City? Probably, but I don't think it's a guarantee. Saka or Son? Saka. Sorry, I need to clear. I'm back. Giving us the site. Oh, I didn't shut the door. We're back. We're back. We're feeling better. Canate or Pau Torres? You already have Trent. Probably Pau Torres. Probably Pau Torres. Any chances in changes in your wildcard team? I probably would go with what I put. Start Porro or Gabriel. I'm going with Porro over Gabriel. Just the lack of midfielders for Arsenal is concerning. And I think both teams will score. And if I think both teams will score, I'm going with the player with more attacking threat. Now, of course, Spurs are pretty horrific in defending set pieces. So there is a chance that Gabriel scores. But yeah, and Porro just has better underlying attacking threat. And if Slanky is going to be back, those crosses into the box for him are a great appeal as well. You want to keep Isak. Is Eze to Rodgers, Adama Traore worth it for Salah? I mean, I'd sell Isak. I don't think I'd do Eze to Salah this week. I'd wait and do it for free next week. Or do it next week. Yeah, I wouldn't sell Eze before Leicester. Madueke and Watkins for who? I'd keep... If you've got Madueke and Watkins, you definitely keep both of them. I'd keep both of them this week if you've got them. I wouldn't be buying Watkins new now, but if you've got him, you keep him for the next couple of games. Madueke to Eze, nope, I wouldn't do that. I really like Madueke as a pick. Henderson or Flecken long term, which one? Probably Flecken. But if you're on wildcard, I would advise against going Flecken and Valdemarsson, because if you end up wanting Mbermo and Visa and you've gone Flecken, Valdemarsson, you won't be able to do that because you'll have 4 Brentford players. So if you're going Flecken on wildcard, I'd actually go for a different 4.0 goalkeeper. Because you don't want to risk your triple up on Brentford being with a backup goalkeeper. Start Havertz or Smith Rowe. I'd probably play Havertz. Even though he's playing in midfield, I'd still prefer him over Smith Rowe. Rodgers or Smith Rowe. Rodgers is higher in my ranking. Isak for Gordon. You have 2 transfers. Sorry, Isak for Pedro. If it allows you to get Salah, but I don't prefer Pedro to Isak this week, but I prefer Pedro and Salah over Isak and Saka, for example. If it's just a one transfer, I wouldn't sell Isak for João Pedro this week. Thoughts on Bowen? Yeah, I quite like him. He was in my transfer targets as my differential this week. He's maybe slightly more expensive than I'd want to pay for him. He's maybe slightly more expensive than I would want to pay for him. But because the thing is he's in the price of Eze, Mbumo, Jota, Diaz. And that's a pretty tough price bracket to be playing in at the moment. So that's why virtually no one will look at Bowen. And it's probably fair enough. Like, those are better options than him. If you've got Kwanzaa and you want to start him, go for it. Because he's not... I mean, the thing is, he might make... I doubt he makes a substitute appearance. It's always possible. But he hasn't played a minute since. So maybe if he starts, he starts. Great. If he doesn't, then he's unlikely to come on. If you still have him. You want to sell Kwanzaa and Muniz to free cash and buy Mazraoui and Munoz and buy Mazraoui and Dunk. Is it a good move? I wouldn't sell Munoz before Leicester at home. Selling Kwanzaa is fine, but wait until next week. Like, if I was on a free hit this week, Munoz would be in it. So I wouldn't be selling him this week. Honestly, I can't wait for this deadline to pass and us to actually have something new to think and talk about, because it feels like this international break has been forever. It feels like it's dragged so much. You have both Watkins and Rodgers. Do I bench Smith Rowe or Rodgers? Smith Rowe is the one I'd bench. If Haaland gets ruled out before the deadline, if Haaland was to be ruled out before the deadline, I mean, part of me would wonder about selling him for a hit and wildcarding in game week 6 to get him back. But I don't know where, like, what forward do I really want? Like, I'd be buying, like, Jackson for Bournemouth away, West Ham away. I could just go back to Isak and then that's not happening, right? Is it? So I'd probably just bench him for Wood. I'd probably bench him because I'm not going back to Isak. There's no way I'm making that transfer of Isak to João Pedro and then 2 weeks later doing Haaland to Isak. I mean, it's the same game week. You don't feel it's risky to have both Robinson and Smith Rowe? I mean, slightly, but I don't have much of a choice in order to decide who to play. So I do actually plan, like, next week. Let me get plan FPL up. So next week my team will look like this. And I probably will bench Smith Rowe because I'm not certain I want a double up. And I don't, like, I'll probably play Chris Wood against Brighton over Smith Rowe against Newcastle. Despite one being at home, one being away. And then game week 6. So I'm still undecided about what I'm going to do with my wild card. Because game week 6, my team looks fine. I need to be having a look at what a game week 6 wildcard would look like and how different it is and how much better it is. So, because I've got, like, I'd be selling Salah to buy Saka. And is Saka at home? I know he's got, is it Leicester at home? But is it much better than Salah away at Wolves? Like, is Salah away at Wolves a better pick than Saka? And if he is, then why am I wildcarding? Because that's the main transfer I want to make on wildcard. So, like, I'd add an extra Arsenal defender. Great. Probably. But I'm not certain I would. Like, it's probably, like, if I was wildcarding, like, let me make it what it looks like. Sorry, it goes a bit weird when I zoom out. Like, I probably start to look at Mbumo as well. Like, Jota probably goes. And, like, João Pedro will go. Like, these are the main differences I make on a wildcard. And I probably wouldn't go Chris Wood. Like, I'd go Visa. But it's not worth a transfer to do Chris Wood to Visa. It's not worth a wildcard. And then I've got a forward, which will probably be Solanke. And then I've got Semenyo, right? Something like that. And it leaves me money to do Henderson to Raya. So those are the moves. Salah to Saka, Smith Rowe to Mbumo, Wood to Visa, João Pedro to Solanke, and Jota to Semenyo. Like, it's, the right-hand side is probably better, but I don't think there's that much in it. And what I could do, let me reset this, is do a couple of transfers. Or, like, not use a transfer here, because in theory I don't massively need it. Like, I've got 0.1 in the bank, so I could do, like, Smith Rowe to Semenyo or something, because he's got Southampton at home. And then in game week 7, if I mean, I've got other transfers in there, but that's a -8. I could in game week 7 do something like this, like 4 transfers, and do Jota to Mbumo, Salah to Foden, Pedro to Solanke, and then I've got Smith Rowe to Bowen. And my team looks, like, really solid again. So I'm not certain is the long and the short of if I'm going to wildcard in game week 6. Sorry, that was a very long-winded way of me getting to that answer. Neto or Madueke? Madueke, definitely, based off how positively we've been speaking about him. Maresca's been speaking about him. I'm a bit late, but I just wanted to find out, do I think Haaland will start? Yes. There was a super chat, when is the Haaland leak coming? If we get it, it'll be much closer to the deadline, probably about 10:30, 10:45, I would say. but I don't expect it before then. By Palmer or Madueke. I mean, if you've got the money, Palmer's definitely better, but there's, what, 4 million difference between the two of them. If Haaland doesn't start, then what? I captain Salah, and I probably leave it. I'm not selling him, so it's just if I bench him. Is Chris Wood away at Liverpool better than 30 minutes from Haaland? Probably. Maybe not. Maybe I just leave it and hope an auto sub happens, or if Haaland comes on. But I'll, of course, move the captaincy and the vice captain. The vice captain would be Eze in that situation. Would I play Winks instead of Wood? No, I'd play Wood. I don't have any real concern that Haaland's not going to play though. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't see it. I don't see it really. I just think he'll play. That's why. That's why I was in darkness, because the lights in the room weren't on. Would I consider Dean this week? I wouldn't. I just think there's too much risk with Maatsen potentially getting starts. So no. I don't think Dean's worth the risk. We've seen it before with him and with Aston Villa fullbacks. Mazraoui. Got it. Play Wood or Rodgers? Rodgers. As per my lineup, Robinson versus Gabriel. Again, Robinson as per my lineup. Isak to Welbeck to free up Salah money. Yeah, I don't mind that if it's for free. Is Schmodix a good differential? I'm just not going to massively recommend players from the newly promoted teams. I don't feel like we've seen enough from any of them to massively think that 6 million on a midfielder is worth it when there are such other... Like, would I buy Mazraoui or would I buy Minte? Like, I would just buy Minte without a second thought. Porro to Trent for a -4. Plan to wildcard 6 or 7. If you're going to wildcard 6 or 7, then yes, probably. Why is Noni a good pick? I mean, he looks so on it at the moment. He looks so full of confidence. He looks very direct and he's getting so many chances. So he did it again when he came on for England as well. Best Nottingham Forest defender at 4.5. You're probably going to end up having to buy one of the centre-backs because we don't know at right back or left back exactly who's going to be nailed once they've signed Alex Moreno. But I wouldn't buy a Forest defender. These games are not as easy defensively as they look. Like Brighton away, Fulham is not that easy. Palace is definitely not. Like away at Leicester, yeah, I wouldn't buy a Forest defender. The fixture ticker is misleading on some of those green fixtures, I think. Is Gvardiol better than Porro if affordable? For the next... No, actually, I probably would say not. This week, yes, but long term, no, because the City fixtures after this week, like Arsenal and Newcastle away, you don't massively want Gvardiol in those, I don't think. Especially while he's not getting forward. If we saw Rico Lewis on the bench, then suddenly Gvardiol becomes a better pick, yeah. But right now, no. Is it bad to play White and Porro? I don't hate it. Like, it's not the best week for a lot of the defensive fixtures we've got, unless you've got differentials in like Villa. 5 mil midfielder picks. I still like Rodgers the most. Adama Traore and Souček are up there. Without Faz or Nedeljkovic, if I had to start one this week, I'd play Nedeljkovic and hope he plays, but start Savio or Rodgers. I'd take the chance that Savio starts. Yeah, like, Am I selling Isak because I think he's a bad pick? No. Like, I'm not selling Isak thinking he's a bad pick. I'm selling Isak because I think that Salah is much better than the other players. I think the combination of Salah, João Pedro is better than Isak, Saka at the moment. Is Pedro going to start for Brighton? We think so, but we don't know. Like, we haven't had that much of an update on it. Just that he was expected to train yesterday, but there's not much like insider news from Brighton. So, just having a look if there's anything on Twitter at the moment. Doesn't look like it. Nope. Nedeljkovic or Bogard, I wouldn't go with either, to be honest. If I had both and I had to start one this week, I'd probably play Bogard, but I'm not sure I'd be buying. I definitely wouldn't be buying either. Thoughts on Haaland out for Watkins and Foden? Yeah, I don't think I'd be doing that. I don't like the yellow flag on Haaland as well. It's weird. I feel it's random that they've put it. I feel like they've never done it before for like personal terms or like this situation. I feel like they've never put yellow flags on players for this situation. Maybe I'm wrong and I just don't remember it, but I'd never remember reading personal reasons, 75% chance of playing. Like, I don't remember that ever. Dunk or Konza for the next two? Dunk, definitely. Palmer is going to start. I mean, he's been back in training for like a week, so I have no issue with Palmer. You've got Isak, Haaland, and Salah. That's very nice. I mean, there'll be a sacrifice somewhere. Like, I imagine you don't have Eze, Jota, and Trent to go with it. I know why he's yellow flagged, but I just have never seen them put it on in FPL before like that. Henderson and Flecken as two goalkeepers. They do rotate really well. Yep. Do I think Bernardo Silva will start? Probably. Tuna, sorry. Luis Diaz, Solanke or Mbumo Isaac on wildcard. I'd probably go Luis Diaz, Solanke, and then do Luis Diaz to Mbumo in 2 weeks. Saka and Gabriel to Salah and Dunk. Yeah, if wildcard 6, absolutely, I would do those moves. Are there any Everton assets? There are a couple, actually. Mikalenko's 4.4 now, and Calvert-Lewin's only 5.9. They're not bad long-term buys, although I'm not that fussed about their form so far this season. So, why was no one talking about Tavernier? I mean, he's been fine. Who took did Tavernier take the penalty? We are expecting their new striker to be on pens, though. I mean, he's fine. I still think I'd go Semenyo. A return in every game. Just looks very involved. His online data is fantastic. Leon Bailey is a doubt for the game, so no, I wouldn't be buying him. Salah replaced Saka for 2 game weeks and then wildcard 6. That's what I've done. I might not wildcard 6, but we'll see. My wildcard will probably... my wildcard 6 will probably come down to the form of some of these other players. Like, if Chris Wood keeps performing and we get points out of, like, Rodgers and stuff, then maybe I don't need the wildcard. But if I think that I need a new third forward and a new cheap midfielder and stuff like that, then maybe I will... decide to play the wild card. It's more that than the other players, to be honest. Like, I can easily sell Jota to Burma and stuff like that, so. I'd go Pedro over Welbeck. I'd give Nketiah a 70% chance that he starts. What's the story with Palmer? He's back in training. There's nothing to worry about there with Palmer, I don't think. Worth selling Odegaard? Yes, definitely. Salah or Haaland as captain? I mean, Haaland is my captain. He's top of my captaincy ranking as well. So, yeah. Haaland. Muniz or Smith Rowe? Again, on my benching ranking, we've got Muniz as a start over Smith Rowe this week. It goes Muniz, Rodgers, Smith Rowe in that order from best to worst. Palmer, very defense was better at right wing. I disagree, and he actually played very little at right wing at times last year. Although on paper it lined up with him on the right wing, he didn't stay there very much. He's much better in central areas with Madueke out on the right. Start Cucurella or Lewis. I'd go Lewis and hope he starts. Aina to Dunk or Konza for a -4. I don't think I'd do that. I know you don't want Aina against Liverpool, but I don't think it's worth a -4. Like, what have you got to get from Dunk or Konza for that to pay off? You need big returns. Oh, Conor Bradley was flagged. Fine, I must have just missed it. Smith Rowe's minutes are likely to only get better and better. The only negative on it is they do just have good strength and depth. So I still don't see him to... I mean, it's gone 63, 68, 71. Maybe he gets 75, 80. But they've still got good strength on the bench that... like, they want to make substitutions. So... do we have any team news on United? Not yet. We might get it before the deadline. We might get it. Just seeing if there's any news now that we've hit 10 o'clock. Nope, nothing. Wildcard thoughts. Fabianski. I mean, Fabianski's not going to play. Areola's back, so I don't know who your other... oh, you've got Raya, fine. Trent. I probably wouldn't go Fabianski now because he might drop in price. Actually, probably, to be honest, it doesn't really matter. No player has dropped. I think only one player has dropped below the minimum one. Fabianski, Trent, Robbo, Lewis, Salah, Eze, Matoma, Minte, Rodgers, Haaland, Pedro, Raya, Powell, Greaves, Visa. It's very nice. Salah, and you're going to get Saka in. Yeah, I like that a lot. Thoughts on Minte? I really like him as a cheap option. I just wonder if there's rotation with a Dingra that might come, but oh, the benching rotation's not showing up. There we go. There we go. Thank you, Fiona. Ooh. Bear with me. Apparently Haaland starts from as per lazy FPL. I mean, I did expect it. But here we are. I'm not surprised really at all. I'm interested that we have a leak. 1, 2, 5 hours before kickoff. That's interesting. And it's interesting, when City the 3 o'clock game, we now expect to get leaks. Is that what we're going to say? When are they 3 o'clock next? Next weekend they're late. Game week 6, they're the early one. Game week 7, they're 3 o'clocks. Game week 8, they play on Sunday. Game week 9, they're 3 o'clocks. Game week 10, they're 3 o'clocks. Game week 11, they're the equivalent of 3 o'clocks. We're going to get, if that's the situation that we're in, where we can get City team news 5 hours before the game, there's going to be a lot of leaks over the next few months, because they play on Saturday a lot. They play on Saturday a lot. So yeah, Haaland apparently starting. Where did I put Jota on captaincy? Very far. I mean, he's not on my top 5. He's probably 6th or 7th, to be fair. 99% reliable. Yeah, so it's worth caveating that they were wrong once, where there was a late illness on Jack Grealish, and he came out, and Alvarez, who was quite highly owned in FPL, was said to be benched, and Alvarez then started over Grealish, who was ill. Alvarez did blank, so it didn't actually matter in the end, but that has happened once. But it was a late illness for Grealish going into the game. Pep did say it. But yeah, Haaland will be in for me, and he'll be my captain as well. The AI suggested you take a hit. I mean, I don't know what AI predicted transfers are telling you to take a hit. I'd be careful with that. I would be careful. Oh, I think I've got my list the wrong way around. Yeah, they are. There we go. JP, thank you for joining as a base tier member. Welcome. Just got home from late night. Throw some FPL Harry on, immediately see the Haaland news. Love it. There we go. There we go. Trey, Bruno and Isak to Salah and João Pedro Welbeck this week, or delay it to next week. I'm just not sure I'd sell Bruno before Southampton. That feels like such a plum fixture. You saw me on the FPL show. You did a great job. Oh, well, thank you. For anyone who didn't see, I was very lucky to be on the FPL show yesterday. There I am. Little old me in my shirt, talking a wildcard draft with Oscar and FPL Salah as well. Oscar texted me. But yeah, thank you all again. Like, it's the support on the channel, the support on Twitter and stuff like that that gives me the opportunity to do these things. So I am very grateful. I wonder if we'll get Rico Lewis news. Okay, interesting that they've added this. Current leak accuracy is 95.2%. I quite like that. I appreciate that from them. Nice openness about their leaks and what they've got right and wrong in the past. Wood or Visa on wildcard? I'd go Visa, definitely. I know it's not great this week, so you might have to bench him, but long term, definitely Visa. He's second for XGI amongst forwards, only behind Erling Haaland. Why not Anana from Villa? It feels very reactionary based on the returns that have gone before. I just don't predict the returns to be sustainable at the level they are. You have to start Gabriel over Porro. Look at the betting odds. Arsenal are clear favourites. But winning a game of football doesn't give you FPL returns. Both teams are predicted to score in that game. So then you're essentially... So yeah, let me get... let me have a look. What both teams to score is like a 50% chance in that game. Yeah. Like, they massively predict both teams to score in that game. You watched me too on the FPL show. It was nice. Who do I choose to start between Semenyo and Rodgers? I play Rodgers, definitely, based on the fixture. How many points do I need to avoid a red arrow? We don't know that. You only know that as the game week goes on. So people often ask. So in my video, when I do my team selection, I use something called a safety score. And I put that in my video and I get a lot of questions about it. Effectively, what the safety score is the amount of points you need in order not to get a red arrow. But it's not set before the game week, right? It depends on how many points people score, who scores points and stuff like that. So it changes as the game week goes on and as different players score different amount of points. But it's a good way of calculating how far behind of you to stay at the same place, if that makes sense. I find it really, really useful. Because you might get a massive red arrow, but you might only be 5 points behind your safety score. So it's all it takes is 5 points back for you to go and make it up. Big ups on the FPL show. Thank you very much. What I think about Minte, Smith Rowe out, 1 free transfer left. I don't think Minte in for Smith Rowe is massively worth the transfer, unless you're wildcarding in 6. You can't join the channel. If you want to join the channel, you need to be on PC. You can't do it on phone. You need to be on laptop or PC. Apple don't let you. I think Apple in particular don't let you do it on mobile. Where's my t-shirt from? I'm not entirely sure, actually. I think I've had it a while. I know if Palmer's starting. No, but I massively predict he starts. I'd be very surprised if he doesn't. Are we starting to get like proper leagues or... Lazy FPL, to be fair, is a very... where is it? Is a really useful newsletter, as well as giving really useful leaks on our teams. It's a very useful newsletter that you get into your inbox once or twice a week. It literally takes 10 seconds to sign up. You literally put your email in. That's all they take from you. And they send you 1 email a week with loads of useful information on FPL. Occasionally, as they say here, it sounds like they might send FPL leaks over it. I don't know. But here's a link in the description to sign up if you do want to. There you go. It's literally, you go on and all you have to do is put your email in and you'll get the emails from your inbox every week. It's not loads of emails, so you won't be bombarded, but it is really useful. I signed up and it's just completely free. No, nothing, no strings attached. Just put your email in and that's all it is. Yeah, thank you. And I massively appreciate anyone who tags me and stuff on Twitter. You are the absolute goat. I appreciate it so much. I don't have time to just scroll Twitter during a stream. So anyone who sees anything, whether you think it's reliable or not, I massively appreciate a tag in it. Rodgers or Gordon this week. If you've got Gordon, you've definitely got to start him. Saka to Haaland from -4 or wait. I mean, if you're going to do it, you need to do it this week because next week they play against each other and it's probably not the transfer that you'll do next week. So I probably would do it this week if you do want Haaland. You're a subscriber to Lazy FPL. Very happy with the newsletter. Great content. Highly recommend. So there we go. Don't even need to hear it from me. Let me put the link in one more time and then I'll leave you all alone. Yeah, if you do see stuff on Twitter, please do tag me in it, and it is very useful. Or send it to me in my DMs is probably the easiest way. Start 2, bench 1, Ahmad, Smith Rowe, Muniz. I'd probably bench Ahmad because we just don't know that he's going to start. If we get news that he starts, then maybe you bench Smith Rowe. But until we get that confirmation, we don't. Start Konza or Robinson. If I had Konza, I'd play Konza over Robinson. Much better fixture. Everton just look all over the place. Start Doku or Smith Rowe. Doku. Where's my T-Threat from? I don't actually know. One of the shops like River Island, Zara, one of those, I think. Start Rico Lewis or Dean. Probably Dean. That fixture's plum for Everton, it feels like. Nothing on Nedeljkovic. Nope. Thoughts on Diallo? Again, just not a minute. It's just such a minute's risk at the moment. Wildcard Konza or Dunk? I go Konza, just better long term. Dunk's fixtures for the next 2 are fine. Why not captain Salah? And they're both... Listen, the captaincy decision is so close. I literally have nothing to pick between them. I just think the Forest, both defences are good. Both players are on absolute fire. Just City is very focused around giving Haaland chances at the moment. So, yeah, I just about on Haaland. Of course, Haaland's back-to-back hat-tricks. He'll be one of the first players ever in history and the first player in Premier League history to score 3 Premier League hat-tricks back-to-back. So, I just can't look past that, really. I can't look past that. Porro or Konza. We can probably add Konza to the benching ranking as well. I like the Aston Villa defence this week. It's a great fixture for them. Is Haaland going to start today? Yes, that's what the predictions are, that's what the leakers, should I say, are saying. Not predictions, the leakers. Of course, always use leaks with a little bit of caution. As they said themselves, they're right. They've been right 95% of the time. So they have got things wrong. Thoughts on Schmodix? Just not worth 6 million when you've got cheaper options for teams I expect to score more goals. Will Joachim Anderson start for Fulham? Probably, but it's not guaranteed. I expect him to come in at some point, but it's not guaranteed. Porro or Mazraoui, who do you bench? Porro. You've got to play Mazraoui if you've got him, I think, against Southampton. Why is Martinez? Martinez could be in my top 5 goalkeepers, to be fair. I don't mind him at all as a long-term buy. Yeah, I don't mind it at all. Areola is back in training. Yes, Ariola's back. Leon Bailey, we didn't really get an update. He's not categorically ruled out, but it looks very unlikely that he'll feature. The other thing I suppose people are saying, Sangare is a doubt for Forest, which will make them weaker defensively. Which could... Sorry, just looking at what you've tagged me in on Twitter. I'm very quick. As soon as I see a source that gets something wrong, I block it straight away. So I'm very, I know whether something's fake or not because I've got 500 football accounts blocked because they've tweeted fake team news before. And as soon as you've done it once, without explanation of why, or without previous record, like if it's your first time, the thing is with like Lazy FPL is they've been right 100 times and they got one wrong. That's enough for me not to block them because Grealish was ill. But if it's the first time I see your account and you get it wrong, or it's like the second time and then you get it wrong and then you delete the tweets straight away, like if you're going to get it wrong, like at least own it as well. If you're trying to hide it, that's straight away. So I've got so many accounts blocked. So hopefully I'm in a position where I know if there's an account, whether it's reliable or not. 4.5 goalkeeper for the long term is Flecken. For the short term is Verbruggen. Does Lewis start? We don't know that. With the City leaks, I'm hoping we might get some news on Rico Lewis before the deadline, though. We are 60 likes away from 1,000 likes. So if you haven't already, please make sure you've liked the stream. It would be greatly appreciated. We are going to put it in subscriber only mode. You literally have to subscribe for 1 second to continue asking questions using the chat. But for the run-in of the deadline, we always favour those people who are subscribed to the channel. But yeah, we are so close to 1,000 likes. Why can't I click save? There we go. Thank you all very much. Semenyo I'd bench this week, Sanderpan. I'd bench Semenyo. Who will be the first player to hit their price in points? 7 is 70. That is a very good question. That's a really good question. I know it's not very helpful, but for the... Luis Diaz has got to be up there, right? He's on 32 and he's got to get to 77. Welbeck, 23 and he's got to get to 57. Visa, I think Visa will be quick. I expect Visa after this week to turn it on. Madueke could as well. I'm going to save that. I like that. I like that. Start Mazrari or Lewis. I'd play Lewis. Two best 4.5 defenders, long and short term. Short term, I like Dunk a lot, and I like the Villa guys as long term picks as well. Brentford are nice long term, although their short term is awful. I also don't mind Mikalenko as a long term pick, although their defense has not been great. Saka and Isak to Salah and João Pedro from -4. I don't think it's worth a -4, but the only reason it would be worth a -4 is if you know you've got another transfer you want to make next week. If you know you've got another transfer you want to make next week, then it's effectively going to be a -4 whether you do it this week or not. In that case, I probably would do it. If you think you can do it for free next week, then I probably wouldn't. Ahmad or Gibbs White. Probably Ahmad. Let's see if we get any United news. But start Winks or Wood. I mean, I'd just play Wood. Take the chance that Forest score and he's involved because Winks isn't going to do anything, I don't think. Diaz and João Pedro in for Havertz and Smith Rowe for a hit. I mean, Diaz is better than both Havertz and Smith Rowe, and João Pedro is better than both Havertz and Smith Rowe, so I probably would. I'm surprised I'm saying yes to that, but I probably would do Diaz and João Pedro in for Havertz and Smith Rowe for a hit. For a -4, yes. I wouldn't do it for a -8. If you have Eze, should I bench Nketiah or in Semenyo? I'd probably play Nketiah over Semenyo and hope he plays. Welbeck versus João Pedro is very close. I still just about favour João Pedro because I do think he'll start. 2 free transfers in the bank. Salah Minte for Bruno Saka or Salah Wood. I wouldn't go Wood. Along with João Pedro. I'd go Visa and bench Visa. Probably. I'd probably go Visa. And if you can bench him this week, that's good. Wood or Gabriel first bench? Chris Wood for me. Is Leif Davies a good option? I quite like him as a cheap differential in defence. Fixtures look very good. Underlying data, his data in the Championship was fantastic. If you want a punt, I don't mind it at all. I don't mind it at all. Fixture run is really nice. If I can't get Trent, who out of Virgil and Robbo, I'd probably go Virgil just because I think there's a chance Tsimikas starts a game. With Robbo getting a bit old, I'd just go Van Dijk, I think. Trent and Rodgers or Robertson and Madueke. I mean, in that situation, I'd go the Madueke route. But I do prefer Trent to Robertson for the record. Best 4 million defender, probably Greaves of Ipswich, or you can go Mascara of Wolves, also at 4 million. There is a Brentford 4 million who signed from Liverpool, who we are expecting to get in the team at some point. But it's a bit of a gamble to buy him now because he is predicted to drop in price soon. And we don't know he's definitely going to get in. So probably Mascara or Greaves would probably be the two that I'd recommend. Thank you for joining Kirkham at mid-tier member. If you want to get added to all the WhatsApps and the benefits there, then drop me a message on Instagram or Twitter and I'll get you added this weekend. Raya or Martinez? I mean, Martinez is better for this week, but long-term Raya is, yeah. Kwanzaa to 4 million. Well, to be fair, if Konate picks up any sort of long-term injury, Kwanzaa will be in for everyone. I don't have any news on what João Pedro had for breakfast. No, sadly not. Yeah, it's true. I know I've said Rodgers over Onana, but Onana has come from Everton, so he feels guaranteed to score, right? He feels guaranteed to score. Jota or Diaz? I'd probably go Diaz. Rodgers, Porro or Mbumo? I mean, I'd probably go Rodgers out of them. I haven't got Mbumo on my benching decision. Where would I put him? Would I play Smith Rowe or Mbumo? I'd probably play Smith Rowe if it was me. Sell Barco or Hall for... I mean, I'd sell Hall because at least Barco won't lose value. Sell Barco... Sell... Yeah, Hall for I mean, Munoz, if you can get it, but if not, probably Dunk. There was a comment that said FPL Harry is a great voice of reason in the FPL world, but I thought it said FPL Harry haters because there was a spelling mistake. I said FPL Harry haters are a great voice of reason, and I was like, that's not very nice, but it didn't. Thank you very much, Zayed. Thank you very much for the super chat. I hope you've had a fantastic start to the season and you've enjoyed your international break. I massively appreciate the support on the channel. You really don't need to do this. But thank you very much. Good luck with your team. Good luck to your team this weekend. I hope it goes well with the transfers you have made. Thank you very much. Should we play 2-striker formation in case Haaland doesn't play? It doesn't matter. You'll get auto subs and it will change formation if you need. It will change your formations. Any Haaland news? Yes, we do. Sorry, wrong thing. Haaland starting apparently. They've only, as they say, they've only been right 95% of the time. So do use it with a little bit of caution. But yeah. I think he'll start anyway. Isak or Jackson and Lewis or Dunk. I'd play Dunk and I'd probably go Isak over Jackson. Gabriel or Wood. I'd probably play Chris Wood. Yeah, that's a very useful newsletter once a week. It is. It is a very useful newsletter once a week. Again, let me post the link. I don't have the link copied anymore. Okay, literally all it takes is your email and then Ahmad is expected to start for Manchester United with a late return for Garnacho from South America. That is not concrete news. That is not concrete news, but if you've got Ahmad, you might want to play him. Although it still doesn't mean he's going to play more than 60 minutes, right? Ahmad or Pedro Porro. Based on that, I'd play Ahmad. Ahmad's not guaranteed to start, but it's positive. Isak or get Haaland this week. If you can do Isak to Haaland for free, then yeah. But if it's for anything more than free, then I would just play Isak. As long as you've got Salah to captain. Trent with Visa or Robertson with Solanke. Probably Trent. I think Trent's the best option out of all of those. Will Garnacho start? We're not certain that he will. Isak to Pedro and Saka to Salah for a hit. I probably wouldn't unless you know you've got another transfer you want to make next week. Then do it. But if not, then I do it for free next week. You prefer Alisson's performances recently Liverpool's over Raya on wildcard. Who would I choose? I would definitely choose Raya. They're still the best defence in the league. Any plans to getting Kunku back in? Absolutely not. I was saying on Burning Questions this week, I don't feel like I've got something... It wasn't just me, but I don't feel like we've got something so wrong. Yes, Haaland is the best captaincy option this week. Szoboszlai, good transfer in. To be honest, with the Harvey Elliott injury news, it's not the worst. I don't mind the Szoboszlai pick this week that much at all, to be honest. Is Garnacho benched? We don't know for sure, but there's things saying that he's had a late travel back from South America for a 12:30 kickoff. There's nothing more on... so Haaland is said to have started, but that's the only bit of early team news we have at the moment. It's the only bit of early team news we have at the moment. Eze going to be spicy today. I like the Eze fixture a lot. I'm glad I bought him last week. What time are they? 5:30 kickoff is Villa. Hopefully Morgan Rogers scores. Then it's Chelsea at 8. Fine. Planning to start Ahmad, Munoz, Minte and Saliba. You do have Wood and Gibbs White on the bench. I probably would keep it. Wood versus Saliba is close. I probably would play Wood over Saliba, but it's pretty close. Doku start. We don't have any early team news yet on anything apart from Erling Haaland. I do hope we'll get it closer to the deadline, given that they sound like they already know. Maybe Onana could score against Everton. Absolutely. Is Haaland going to play? Yes. Sounds like it. The leakers have got Haaland to start. Yes. The leakers have Haaland to start. I would keep Watkins. I think Watkins will start. The best FPL channel for you. Well, thank you very much. BW, sorry. Bruno Fernandes now. Sorry, Bruno to Fernandes now or Bruno to Salah, Isak to Pedro game week 5. I don't imagine the question is right, but I would do this. I'd make sure you get Salah for game week 5. Luis Diaz or Alisson? Luis Diaz or Alisson? Fancied Alisson for the long term. Probably Luis Diaz. I prefer other keepers to Alisson. Someone was saying the United team is out, but I don't see it. And if you want to tag me in something, then that's very useful. But it's not there at the moment. No United news. It does sound like predictions are that we will see Garnacho on the bench again and Ahmad start, but it's definitely not concrete, like confirmed or anything. If you can't get Eze, who do I advise to get? Probably Madueke is the next best at that sort of price bracket. Konza or who to bench? Konza or Porro? I'd probably bench Porro out of those. The leaker account of FPL Leaks with an extra S tweeting that Ahmad starts. He may well have guessed correctly, but it is one of the accounts that I have blocked. So please be careful with what you believe on Twitter. Smith Rowe or Muniz? I play Muniz over Smith Rowe. Porro or Rogers? Rogers. Nedeljkovic or White? Probably Nedeljkovic. Would I risk Welbeck over Pedro if you intend on going Havertz in game week 6 anyway? I probably would still go Pedro because I just think Pedro's going to start. And if they both start, then Pedro is a better pick. Lewis or Porro? Lewis. Dunk or Jackson? Jackson. Always favour the attacker if you're unsure. Lewis or Nedeljkovic? Lewis definitely. Lewis definitely. Smith Rowe to Minte for a hit? No. For free, potentially, but for a hit, I don't think I'd do that. Like, I've got Smith Rowe and there's just no way I sell Smith Rowe to Minte for a hit, I don't think. 4.7 million budget for a starting defender. Dean, Lewis, Robinson, Dunk. If you're on wildcard, maybe Dunk. As long as you have another defender who can cover well with Dunk. If not, then just go Villa. Robinson or Livramento. Robinson. I just think Trippier might start eventually. Maybe I'm wrong, but... Play Gordon or Smith Rowe. If you've got Gordon, you absolutely have to play him. You absolutely have to play him this week. Jackson or Havertz, you have Madueke, you're on wildcard. I mean, I'd go Solanke. I'd probably go Solanke. If you've got Madueke, I'd definitely go Solanke. Abanob Mahir, if you are in the chat, I greatly appreciate you tagging me and stuff. Thank you very much. Got my little whiteboard. Maybe I should write the team news that we get on this during the streams. We can play noughts and crosses again on this, but I realised I offended, or didn't offend, I annoyed about 4,000 people when I did that on on my Game Week 1 stream, and people went, literally my views, you can see it, just went like that as soon as I started playing noughts and crosses on a Game Week 1 deadline stream an hour before the first deadline, which was probably fair enough. Gvardiol or Gabriel? Definitely Gvardiol this week. Smith Rowe or Semenyo? Smith Rowe this week. Long-term Semenyo. Can you have Konza and Nedeljkovic both in your team? I probably wouldn't do that. It's unlikely that they both start. It's likely only one of the two starts. Nketiah of interest? Yes, if he starts and gets good minutes, he's definitely of interest at his price. The cheapest way into the Crystal Palace attack. Have you missed any big news? No, just Haaland starting. It's about the only bit of team news that we've got. 20 minutes to go to the deadline. 20 minutes to go to the deadline. Why, if we have Gordon, do we need to play him? Because it's a great fixture. Like, if you've got Gordon and you're spending 7.5 on him and you're benching him away at Wolves, who just conceded 6 goals in the last time that they played at home, I'm not sure he's worth a pick if you're not going to play him in this fixture. Sell Gibbs White for Mitoma or bench and play Smith Rowe. I'd probably just bench it. Is double up on Welbeck and Pedro okay if you're going to... I mean, if you definitely are going to sell at least one in Game Week 6, then fine. But it does lock you in very short term. And I definitely wouldn't do it if I was on wildcard. It's very short term and it will force you into hits and stuff later down the line. Ali, apologies. Raya, Kanate, Semenyo. I mean, it's not Kanate. The option is the choice without Kanate. 4.5, Pau, Eze, definitely. If you change that Kanate to a Munoz, maybe, but I would go the 4.5, Pau and Eze, I think. Leif Davis or Lewis Hall? Leif Davis, because we don't even know who's going to play. Smith Rowe, Souček. Smith Rowe or Souček? I'd play Smith Rowe. How much money have I got in the bank? 0.3. Am I getting a takeaway tonight? I am not. Tonight I am making a chicken casserole. A sort of family favourite from when I was young. Very hearty meal with we make dumplings and we put them on the top. Holly's not feeling that well today. So it is the perfect thing to try and make you feel a little bit better. I love it. And I'm making that. I would post it on Twitter, but the issue is it's one of those things that, because it's like a hearty family dish, it doesn't look great when you take a picture of it, but it's so good. We'll do the FPL challenge after the deadline. Yeah, I've got nowhere to go apart from to go and have some breakfast and have a cup of coffee. Chicken casserole on a Saturday night. Trust me, if you knew this chicken casserole, you would want it. I'd have it 3 times a week if I could. Lion. Let me bench Smith Rowe or Rodgers. Sorry, it is in my benching order. I would bench Smith Rowe for Rodgers. Is my benching? Let me put it up there for you now. This is my benching decision. So top left, you've got the best. Bottom right, you've got the worst. So it goes down and then down. So you've got João Pedro to Pau Torres, and then below Pau Torres, you've got Konza down to that. So that's the benching order I've got for the week, looking like that. It's interesting on that I've got Chris Wood over loads of my defenders, but I can't, because I can't play 8 attackers. Here we go. I think the real leaks are coming now. Well, not the real leaks. I wonder if the mass leaks are going to start coming. So we'll keep an eye on things like Rico Lewis. We'll keep eyes on things like Gvardiol. We'll keep an eye on any of the others like Foden, like De Bruyne and stuff like that. But Tony is confirmed that Erling Haaland is fine and available to start today. So if you've got Haaland, there you go. A little bit more news for you. Konza, Mazraoui or Robinson. I'd probably bench Robinson out of them. Would I bench Porro or double up on Villa defence? I'd bench Porro for both and double up on Villa, to be honest. Maybe you play only one just for the mental part of it, actually. Is he viable or starting? Starting. Like Haaland starts, and that means starts. Is there any reason you would not pick Luca Dean? I just think he's going to be a risk, and he'll miss some games. I think. It's too much of a gamble for me, Luca Dean, at the moment. Szoboszlai, Dean, Konza, or Robertson Mitoma? Robertson Mitoma, definitely. But I feel like that's about $1 million more expensive. Rizma, thank you for joining as a member. Welcome to the channel. You have 6.8 million. Who do I get in midfield? Probably Madueke. Who do I get? Yeah, that's what I would do. And Nkunku to Eze, Gabriel to Lewis for -4. I probably wouldn't go Lewis, but I don't mind. Then Nkunku to Eze for a hit is fine. But I wouldn't go Lewis. Havertz to João Pedro or Saka to Palmer. I probably would go Havertz out because he's going to be playing deeper. He's going to be playing deeper. No Manchester United team news as of yet. The only thing we've got team news on is Haaland is starting by both Tony and FPL, Lazy FPL. The other thing is we think Ahmad is going to start for Man United, but it's not been categorically confirmed. Wood and Gordon for Eze and João Pedro for a hit. I mean, you are getting 2 players who I prefer for 2 players I don't love, so yes. Should you keep Isaac? Yeah. Game week 6 seems unnecessary early. I'm going to try and hold it, I think, but I don't know if I will be able to. it will depend on things like Rodgers' form coming good over the next few weeks. So let's see. And it will depend on how Porro and stuff like that looks as well. So let's see. I'm not locking in the wild card, but I think I might not have a choice based off the transfers I meant this week. Munoz, Robinson, Porro, bench 1. Porro. Would I start Wood or Muniz? Muniz, definitely. I don't mind the Muniz pick. He's been very unlucky not to have returned. Watching live from South Africa. I've just been in South Africa, very, very briefly, to get a connecting flight. In Johannesburg, but that was it. But I was in it. I was there. Slanky or Rodgers? Rodgers. Are you sure we'll start Robinson over Gabriel? My team has been like this for about 5 days, and I have absolutely no plan on changing it now. So yes, unless someone tells me that one of my starting players isn't playing. Christian, let me find it. Oh yeah, the message didn't appear. Write your message in the chat, and I will find it in a minute. Write your message in the chat, and I'll find it. Start Munoz or Porro. Munoz, definitely. Captain Jota, I would just not captain anyone that's not Salah or Haaland this week. Bench 1, Smith Rowe, Semenyo or João Pedro. I'd bench Semenyo against Chelsea. I can add Semenyo to my list, actually. I'm going to put him... There we go. Whoop. Sell Saka or Jota for Salah. Saka. If you're going to wildcard 6, if you can do Jota to Salah, I still would probably sell Saka actually. Yeah. Got 1 free transfer. Saka to Palmer this week or roll and get Salah. I'd roll and get Salah. Transfer Nkunku to Madueke for a hit. Yes, I would, because you're just going to keep losing value on him. Mazraoui or Robinson? I'd probably play Mazraoui. Garnacho or Gibbs White? To be honest, I'd probably take a benched... I'd probably take a benched Garnacho over Gibbs White this week. Should you take, Christian, here we go. Should I take a -4 to transfer in Salah for Saka, or should I just keep Saka versus Tottenham and do the transfer? I do it for free next round if you don't plan on making another transfer. If next week you think you might want to do a different transfer, and then it would basically be a minus, there's a chance it'd be a -4 next week anyway, then just do it for a hit this week. So I do think there's a chance Salah outscores Saka by 4 this week and you're just glad you did a week early. Generally, I'd probably say no, but if there's even a 10% chance that you want another transfer next week, I probably would just do it this week for a hit. If you guarantee you can do it for free next week and you've got no other moves to make next week, then do it next week. But if there's a chance you want another transfer next week, then just do it for a hit. You have a feeling Gabriel's going to score his header today? Very possible, but I've also got 11 home fixtures, which does feel quite nice. Bruno and Isak to Salah and João Pedro Welbeck this week. Or delay. If it's for free, then yes. If it's for a hit, then no. Yeah, I would do Nkunku out to Madueke for a hit over playing an Arsenal defender. Would I swap Porro for Romero to allow Nkunku to Eze? No, I wouldn't. I'd just do Nkunku to Madueke. Porro to Romero is definitely not worth it. Wood and Faz for Wisa and Virgil van Dijk. Yes, Visa and Virgil van Dijk is much better. Transfer and Kunku to Madueke we've done. Would I bench Gabriel from Masrari? Yes, I would. Haaland, yes. Would I bench Gabriel or Masrari? I'd bench Gabriel. Pizza or burger for dinner tonight. It's chicken casserole tonight. We've got 7 minutes. Sorry. Smith Rowe, Isaac, or João Pedro. Start 1. Well, it's got to be Isaac, I think. Start Lewis or Isaac. Isaac, definitely. And Dean or Konza. Konza. Oh, no. Start Dean over Konza. But if you're buying one, I'm probably buying Konza. Do I do Raya and Solanke or Flecken and Havertz? Raya and Solanke. Should I do Porro to Pau Konza this week or next? I would just keep Porro, to be honest. I would just keep Porro. He's a good long-term hold. I'm glad I started the season with him. I'm glad I started with him. Isaac out. I mean, I sold Isaac only because it gave me money for Salah. Yeah. Charlie. Start Garnacho or bring Matoma in for free. I would do Garnacho to Matoma for free. I would do Garnacho to Matoma for free. Bench Rodgers or Havertz. I'll probably bench Havertz if he's going to be playing in midfield. You want to start 2 from Madueke, Semenyo, Rodgers. I'd bench the one playing Chelsea at home. Bench Semenyo. Start Porro or Konza. My benching, I'm going to put the benching up pretty for the most of it now, because I think that's what people want most of. So the benching decisions are in the top right. Top left is best, bottom right is worst. Yeah, Haaland is said to be starting, yes. Focal is saying Jota stars? Is he? I haven't seen that on Twitter. It's not on Twitter, so... What's he saying? Is it in his stream? Let me just listen to it in the background. How many matches a weekend do I watch? Probably 2 or 3. Is Palmer playing? Yes, we expect him to. Is Kwanzaa going to start? I doubt it. Smith Rowe or Ahmad? Smith Rowe. Wood or Muniz? Muniz. Why Porro over Gabriel? Just much better attacking threat. He's not talking about it. Does Jota start? I'm going to have a look. I don't know where this has come from. Apparently Praz retweeted it, but... Anfield Insights. That's not the real Anfield Insights. I'm not going to share that. I'm not certain on that. I'm not certain on that. I'm sure the real Anfield Insights has more followers than that. Yeah, they've also DM'd me trying to get me to view their page before, and they have no DM, so that's definitely not the right one. So no, we're not sharing that. He may well start. It's not saying he doesn't, but I'm just not believing that. Mbeumo or Wood. The benching has Mbeumo over Wood. Mbeumo over Wood. Robinson, Lewis, or Muniz, Joao. Muniz in is the best at 5 million for Crystal Palace. We have got 2 minutes to go to the deadline. Start Wood or Munoz. Munoz or Muniz, whichever it's meant to be. Benchings are in the top right-hand corner as well if you need them before the deadline. It is the final minute before the deadline, so do go and check your teams. Go and lock everything in. Gibbs White or Wood. I probably favour the forward in Chris Wood. Gordon to Rodgers. I just play Gordon, unless you need the money for another transfer. If not, just do it next week when you do need the money. Gordon's better than Rodgers. Gibbs White or Saliba. Gibbs White. Isak or João Pedro. Isak this week. But João Pedro is good for a cheap price. Madueke or Eze. Eze. Site has crashed. Start Saliba. I mean, I'm not, but I don't mind it. Wood or Winks. I play Wood over Winks. Burn or Saliba. I play Saliba over Burn. Robinson or Munoz. Munoz. Is Diaz starting? We don't know. Robinson or Van Dijk? I'd go Van Dijk. And that is going to be the deadline by the time you get round to hearing this. That is probably that. It is just about to update by the time you see this. My team is locked in as it has been for about 3 days. Pens down. That is going to be, once it updates, there we go. That is going to be the deadline. If you are heading off, just before you do, that is the link to the, no, that one's not. This is the, oh, Harry, come on. Please make sure you have liked and subscribed. If you are just going to head off, we're going to do Fantasy Challenge now and talk about my team for that. We are also, here is the link to sign up to Lazy FPL, which has the great weekly newsletter, just a roundup of FPL sent to your email. All you have to do is put your email in. There's nothing more complicated than that. And they're also the people that send your, that did the leaks today for Erling Haaland as well. So if you want to go and check that out. But this is how we locked it in. Let me just tweet my team very quickly. And then I will be with you. FPL Gameweek 4. Gameweek 4 team lock. The best thing about the new change of lineups means we've only got 14 minutes to wait for the lineups, and then that's when I'm going to start ending my streams. So I'm going to stay live for at least 15 minutes after the end of the deadline. Isak plus Saka. Salah plus Joao Pedro in. Haaland captain. Then I'm just going to put it on Instagram. There we go. We are ready. We are ready. Let me turn the slow mode down a little bit. And then we're going to do our then we're going to do Fantasy Challenge. Then we're going to do Fantasy Challenge. Let me just... We're ready. Hopefully Isaac going to brace the first reply. Probably. Right. Fancy challenge time. I've already made my team. Thoughts on Bournemouth Chelsea tonight. Easy Chelsea win. I don't know, Sponge. It's always Chelsea are so up and down. I do hope we win. I do think we've got it. We've got it in us. But yeah, this is where I'm at with my fancy challenge team for the weekend. It is defenders. It is defenders and goalkeepers, and it is double points. Let me put the league code in the chat for you. I'm going to send both the code and the link if you'd rather use the link. The link is there if you want to join the Fancy Challenge League code. Yeah, that's the league code up on screen if you want it now. Or if you want the auto join link, the link is in the chat. So this is my team for the weekend. We're going with Martinez at home to Everton, Alisson, Trent, Van Dijk at home to Forest, and we've got Lewis at the moment, but I've gone with enough. I could do Van Dijk to Robertson once we know Robertson starts. I can always do Lewis to Gvardiol as well if we get news that Lewis isn't going to start either. So I've got money in the bank, 1.8. I can do a bit of upgrades if and when I want to. But this is what I'm going with for the challenge team. Who else have you got in your fancy challenge teams? Who have you gone with? Who have you decided to go with? Let me know who you picked in your challenge teams for Game Week 3. We're also not very far away from getting a bit of Man United team news. I need to check this. Yeah, they've been wrong in the past. That Anfield Insights account has been wrong in the past. I'm glad I didn't share it. It's just all over Twitter. Yeah. Munoz. Oh, Munoz is a good shout. Oh, yeah, that's a good shout, actually. Maybe I like that. Yeah, I quite like that home to Leicester. Let's take Van Dijk out and let's keep a Liverpool. Let's keep a City. Let's go. Let's keep Lewis in for now. We can go Gvardiol. Steele's another good pick. They did Ahmad, and it looks like Ahmad and Rashford are both starting. Looks like Ahmad and Rashford are starting. They said Jota's starting, but I haven't seen the account before. Oh, I have, but it doesn't look the same. Yeah, that's true. Munoz would be in my free hit team, so he should be in there. I forgot about him. I was doing this quite quickly the other day. You have a Bruggen over Alisson as you own Trent and Robertson. For Bruggen over Alisson, fine. I mean, yeah, we're going with this. Well, would I have sold Saka to Eze for a hit? No, I wouldn't have done that. No, I wouldn't have. Will Rico start? We'll have to wait and see. I can change the team until kickoff of that game though, so I can change him out if he doesn't start. So I don't want to talk. Oh, my league code for Fantasy Challenge. It is in the chat, and it's also in the description. If you check in the description, there is the normal FPL league, and then there's the Fantasy Challenge league as well, is in the description. It's all down. It's all there. It is all there. What's my thoughts on double Liverpool defence until wildcard? If you're wildcarding early, I don't mind that at all. Yeah. It was quite popular of people going on it. But the other thing is, if you can't get to double attack, that is. If you can't get to double attack. I'm interested to see the Southampton lineup today because I think there might be some changes. They've not looked very good. Why does it say game is updating? Did I miss the deadline? Yeah, the deadline was 11 o'clock as per usual on a Saturday. Thoughts on Bowen Pont over Saka for the next 2 weeks before wildcard? I don't mind it. I just think he's not worth the price or the other people in and around his price. Like, I just buy Brown and Boomo over going with Bowen now. I like Izad. Isaac. Is Haaland playing? Yes, he was linked. This week's FPL challenge is a bit weird because you can make a team. This is it. I feel like they haven't quite got to grips with the budget on Fantasy Challenge, because did anyone play it last week? It was newly promoted teams, but you had no budget. If they're going to make us pick from newly promoted teams, we should be able to afford a Vardy, everyone we wanted from the newly promoted teams. Whereas this week, we shouldn't be able to pick every defender we want. We should have 4.5 defenders in there. We should be made to pick around the defenders. They need to take some budget out of this week and put it into last week. I feel like they haven't quite got the level of budget right for a lot of them so far. Like, just make me pick Munoz. Make me pick a 4.5. Don't let me just pick Trent. Like, I could have picked Martinez, Alisson, Gvardiol, Trent, Van Dijk. Or like Trent, Robertson, Van Dijk, Alisson, Ederson. Like, it's just too much, in my opinion. Did you enjoy my TV appearance? I did. Thank you very much. It's great to see how far you've got with your journey. Thank you. Yeah, it was a pretty surreal experience, I can't lie. And sort of coming home, it was a bit like a what on earth has just happened moment. So yes. Yes, it was great. It was great. Why Rico Lewis? Because if he starts, he gets so far forward. 3 minutes to go until we get a bit of team news. We're going to do some future planning of the team for those of you who are still here. So, I mean, game week 5, I don't want to put you off from watching my videos next week, but I may well roll a transfer next week. I might roll a transfer next week. Who do Bournemouth have? Liverpool away, so I'm not doing that. Yeah. I mean, the one I look at is Solanke, right? I start to look at Solanke and trying to find a way to get him in, but I was on. Let me find it. If anyone wants to go and watch it. find latest videos? There we go. I mean, it's there. Here we go. Oh, Fancy Show episode 4. Here we go.
Joining me today, making his debut in the Fancy Show studio, it's Harry Daniels, aka FPL Harry. Now, for those of you that don't know Harry, his stats are remarkable. He has 4 top 10,000 finishes in a row, and he's actually ranked
Got too much.
Stacker.
And, quite
fixtures as well, Harry, because when we do look at the fixtures, does it mean that you do maybe need a bit of a plan, in particular for the next 3 with Salah? Is that a large part?
Mom, on TV. Let me put it in the chat if any of you want to go and if anyone actually want to go and watch it. Yeah, it was pretty crazy in the studio and stuff. I have to say. There you go. What was I going to do? Oh, team news. Right, let's have a look at that, shall we? Let's have a look at that. One minute. You thought I did really well. Thank you. It was pretty... I wasn't nervous until like the half an hour, the hour before I went on. I was like, oh, okay. And then when I was sat down in the seat, there's no real... How do I say that? There's no like... You don't get in there and there's like... You just go in and you go and sit down and then you sort of chat for a little bit and then the show starts. It's like there's no like massive prep. I mean, I didn't know what I wanted. Like I didn't need people to check that I was okay. But once it started, once I'd got my first sentence out, I was, no warm up. There was no like practice, Harry answered this question for us, or it was nothing. I suppose if I'm getting to the point where I'm asked on, then we're past that point, right? But as soon as I'd got my first sentence out, I was absolutely fine. But yeah, anyway, let's have a look at let's have a look. Sorry. Mino Eriksson. Where in the world does an Eriksson start come from? They've had enough of Casemiro is what's happened. They've had enough of Casemiro. So it's Eriksson, Mino, then Ahmad, Rashford, Fernandes, Xerxes. They've had enough of Casemiro. Let's look at Southampton. Yeah, Harwood Bellis benched. Manu, sorry. Harwood Bellis benched along with Adam Armstrong. Harwood Bellis and Adam Armstrong are both benched. There was there was talk from Southampton fans that things like this might be looking like it might happen. As a Southampton fan, the Armstrong bench was coming. You see, Southampton fans saw it coming. Archer is back. He's only 5 million in FPL. I do not suggest going and buying him, but if you've got him, this is of course a boost to you. Ramsdale is only 4.4. He'll probably make more saves this season than anyone else. But yeah, interesting. No Harwood Bellis. Yeah, they've gone Bednarak and Stevens. Well, that is that. That is the team for this weekend. We're going to wrap it up there. I'm going to go and get a cup of coffee and something to eat as well. I will post my chicken casserole when I have it tonight for anyone interested, and if I remember and it looks good in a photo. So let's go and enjoy the football. It is back. It is so good to have FPL back. It has been so long since we've had a proper week of FPL to go and get our teeth into. Thank you all for the support on the stream. Once again, the 2,000 of you in watching now, you are all the real G's. The real G's? Oh, G's. The real supporters, legends. I've never said the real G's in my life, and I don't plan on saying it again. But yeah, like the fancy show yesterday just made me so appreciative of everyone's support and everyone like supporting the channel on Twitter over the years and how far it's come as well. So thank you all for that. If you do, someone asking for... Yeah, if you want to find my Twitter and stuff, which is crazy, there's all my socials link. If you want that, just click that and it'll have all the links that you might want. Instagram, Twitter and stuff will be on over the weekend. Have a lovely weekend, everyone. Enjoy the football, and I will see you all again very soon.